What's going on, guys? This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Having a lazy Sunday, I figured I would, just sound off a little bit, guys, and tell you some of my thoughts regarding Dave Chappelle's latest offering, 846. And I watched this a couple of days ago. Somebody sent me the link, and they told me you need to watch this. This is some powerful shit, man. You got to watch it. It'll shake you down to your core. So I was like, okay, I'm always down to be shooken down to my core. So let me go on and check this thing out. So, I went on and watched it and everything. And, I gotta say, if anything at all, stuck out at me more than anything else, it would probably be that Dave Chappelle sounds like a cross between Marge Simpson and Red Fox right now. You know what I mean? Like his voice is just, let me tell you something. I don't like this shit at all. And it's like, get all that smoke in. I don't know, Dave. You know what I mean? Like, what happened to Dave Chappelle? He didn't sound like that anymore. But, it's all good because it's, he's as powerful as he ever was. The thing about it is, guys, is this is not a comedic tour de force. If you're looking for classic Dave Chappelle, where he's just knocking you dead with laughing and stuff like that. That's not what this is. And it's not supposed to be either. Yes, he tried to sprinkle little sarcastic jabs in there and everything. And, some of them hit, some of them missed. But primarily what he was there for, I think, was to express the outrage that we all feel with this George Floyd situation and everything that has happened since then, with the rioting, the looting, the protests, all of the other things, to put it in historical context, because he also brings up what happened to Eric Garner, of course. And I love that he brought up also the situation with Christopher Dorner. That was deep. I haven't thought about that in a long time, but I'll never forget it. So I'm glad that he brought it up, because that name needs to stay in people's minds, because everybody wonders, especially when it comes to the issue of police brutality, like, what responsibility or accountability at all do other officers have? When you see that the police department is taking a beating and the reputation is going down the shitter, like, why don't more cops come forward, to speak out and everything? And the situation with Christopher Dorner, Google it if you want to know more about that. Dave did a pretty good job of talking about it. But that situation serves as a reminder of what could happen, because I don't think that's all it was about. It was so tragic because the man served his country and he went on to be on the police force. It's like, you would think that someone who devoted so much of their lives to the protection and the service of others wouldn't have gone out the way he did. It was so tragic, and I feel like we'll never really understand what happened there. But the jump off was that he tried to report the misconduct of another officer and ended up being killed by other officers. So no matter what you think about that situation, with the limited knowledge that we have, it was a tragedy. You know what I mean? And I feel bad that it ever happened. So I'm glad that Dave brought that up. And like I said, he really, I guess he tapped into the outrage. Now personally, I don't need Dave Chappelle to speak for me, because I have this channel, so I do a pretty good job of speaking for myself. But I know a lot of people were saying that Dave Chappelle is speaking for all of us, and he's speaking about how we feel. And, that makes him pretty much legend status, because these days everyone is so afraid. They are so afraid to dive into the deep end of the pool, so to speak. You know what I mean? So whether they're afraid of being called racist or being otherwise misunderstood for what their views are, a lot of people try to stay tight-lipped these days, because these days we're living in, it does, invoke some very, very powerful feelings in people. No matter what anybody says, it's very hard to stay indifferent these days. So everyone, they don't want to betray their own demons, because the fact of the matter is that all of us are a little bit prejudiced, if not racist, but all of us are, so since we're living in this oof, well, that's true too. But since we're living in this cancel culture, anybody could be a victim, But me, I don't give a shit. I don't plan on running for president anytime soon. I'm not up for any high-profile role in Hollywood. You know what I mean? So all I can do is speak my mind. You know what I mean? And that's the reminder that I give myself every time I do a video. I'm just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. And of course, you have to do it a certain way, but even still, you're still going to get like people who are going to twist your words and misunderstand. But anyway, like I said, the Dave Chappelle situation, he was very, very passionate. And I agree, with most of what he said. And I think that Dave's legendary status probably comes from the fact that most people can agree with what he said. Now, if he came out there and started saying a bunch of contrary shit, he might find himself on that other side. But see, here's the powerful thing about the George Floyd situation is that it transcends race. I think that when most people saw that video, all you saw was, holy shit, how can you do that to another human being? How can you slowly, methodically kill somebody when all you have to do is stand up? Like, you're choosing to stay on that person's neck. So I think that everybody knew that no matter what type of person George Floyd might have been in real life, if he had been, an idiot or something like that, nobody deserves to go out that way ever. So that is where we started out. We started out with most people feeling that way and knowing that. And of course, what changes the story is what has happened since then. So the outrage would be the first part, and then what comes after that. Now, Dave only spoke about the outrage, and that's where my critique comes in, because I feel like Dave Chappelle is a very, very intelligent man. He's proved this again and again. Very intelligent, very observant, and he knows the cost of what he says. You know what I mean? So I can't help but point out what he didn't say. I can agree with what he did say. It was very, very powerful. That is the initial response that most of us have and had when we saw that video, But where he messed up at in my mind now, okay? All right, he doesn't. You don't have to agree with this. But when I was watching it, I was like, what the fuck, dog? You're stopping short. Not only did you stop short, but the one thing he said was that you don't need to hear from celebrities, which is true. You don't need to hear from celebrities, but the fact of the matter is we are hearing from him. You know what I mean? So whether he's, like coming at it from this way or that way, he is a celebrity who's sounding off on the issue. So what he was saying was the streets are talking and you're good drivers. I think he said something to the effect of, you're good drivers and I'm comfortable in the back seat. Now, right there is where I'm like, I gotta disagree with you there, beloved Dave Chappelle. It's like I said, I respect this man. He's more talented, than just about anybody out there. He's one of the all-time greats, all right? But that doesn't mean, even though he might be speaking for other people, like I said, I speak for myself, and more importantly, I think for myself, okay? So there's more to it than just the streets are talking, okay? Because if the outrage here is about a life that was needlessly taken, and you're going to be that outraged and you're going to be that passionate, then you would have to willfully ignore David Dorn, all right, the retired 77-year-old police officer who was killed on camera and slowly lost his life while rioters and looters ran over him and around him and filmed him, and he died. He died, man. This is a man who spent his whole life serving his community. And there is nothing more outrageous in this story than that. I feel bad, terrible, heartbroken about what happened with George Floyd, and I demand justice for him and his family. But if you're going to talk about that, and you're going to talk about the outrage that came from that, there is no less outrage for David Dorn. And that's how I feel about it. I couldn't believe it when I saw that video. I'm sorry that I saw it, but I did. That video was out there, all right? So he died on his back, a 77-year-old man, retired police officer, who probably never had to kill anybody. I was talking about that, with my brother and things like that. And he was filmed. I can only imagine what was going through his mind as he slowly died while people didn't use their phones to call for help. But they did film him as he died. And there are other circumstances too. That's just the one that really haunts me. But all of the young people who have been arrested, who now have criminal records, who have been beat up, because they ran out into the streets and stuff. Look, I don't feel comfortable in the back seat, Dave. I don't. Because this car is out of control. It has no driver. That's the thing. The car is going wild. And the only way it's going to stop is when it runs out of gas, unless somebody puts on the brakes. So my thing is, if we're not attempting to put on the brakes, if we're not attempting to say, hey, you can stop the car this way before you get into an accident and you get yourself killed, you might want to pump the brakes. Now, I would think that that would be the second message. Like I said, I'm not here to say that Dave was wrong with what he said, because that's just the start. The initial takeaway, from the George Floyd thing would be justice. Justice for George Floyd. Justice for Tony Timpa. Justice for anyone who's been unduly roughed up or killed or, run through the criminal system, railroaded through by the cops. You know what I mean? There is a problem there. There absolutely is. But you're letting the media create the narrative. People can only come together when we communicate, when we understand there's a human issue here. The media doesn't want us to know that this is a human rights violation. So they want to define it as a racial thing. And so you have black people who are just so happy to get the attention. They're having white people out on the streets washing their feet and kneeling and all this stuff. Why are they kneeling to you? You weren't the one who was beat up by the cops. You might feel like, oh, well, it could have been me. But that's another thing. You're taking on the role of a loser. It's like I see people putting signs in their kids' hands saying, am I next? Is it going to be me? Am I going to be killed next? Do you know what you're doing to that child's psyche when you do that? I'm not here to argue that it could happen. Like I said, I've been harassed by the cops in my day, all right? But what you don't want to do is you don't want to strike a child with fear in their heart, in anxiety, and depression. And I think that's what's happening with a lot of our kids out here. I talked on the earlier video about my son actually running from the cops when he didn't do anything, him and his friends, and I had to stop them and talk to them about that. You never do that. You never do that. The cops are not here to just run up on you and start killing you and everything like that. Oh, what about Tamir Rice? I understand. All right, believe me, I understand. But what I'm trying to do is put our people in a mindset that will actually have them get well and get better. There's just so much, that we do that's counterproductive. All right. And like I said, this is not to bash Dave Chappelle. What he did was very, very powerful. And I know a lot of people needed to hear that. That's true. But all I'm doing is challenging people to look at the other part of this. You know what I mean? In the other part of this, you will find accountability. And guys, this is nothing new for me. I've been talking about this for years. All right? Accountability is something you need to survive. You just can't be a victim all the time. You have to, at some point, say to yourself, how can I lessen the chances of something like this happening to me? Of course, there are going to be some times when the answer is nothing, okay? So, for all the people who will inevitably get into the comment section and say, or give me circumstances where people were doing nothing and still ended up getting killed, I understand that. I absolutely do, all right? But still, each of us are an individual. In our hearts and in our minds, we have to think for ourselves. We have to have a survival instinct, So you have to think about everything you do. You have to be deliberate. You have to have a sense of purpose in the way that you live your life every day. That's the way I live my life. And like I said, I've been harassed by the cops. I know the frustration of it all, but you have to feel empowered some kind of way. And as long as you can put one foot in front of the other, or you can blink your eyes, or you can formulate a thought, you have to be thinking, what can you do to lessen the chances of things like this happening to you? So, guys, like I said, I applaud Dave Chappelle. At the end of all of this, I applaud him, for having the guts, to express his rage the way that he did and express his anger. And I should say his outrage, all right? It wasn't just rage, it was his outrage. I'm sure there's some rage in there too. We all felt it. But what I'm saying is you got to go a little bit further. You have to go a little bit further. And I know what these people are afraid of. These people who are manipulating this whole thing on the media, they're afraid of people coming together as human beings. I'm not afraid to say that, guys. I might live and I might die. And 50 years later, somebody might say the same thing. But in the event that this video is dug up somewhere, you'll remember that somebody told the fucking truth. And that is the fucking truth. We are human beings, all of us. We separate ourselves by everything under the sun, whether it's race, whether it's religion, whether it's gender, whether it's sexual preference, whatever the case may be. But as long as we do that, there will be people who will be able to manipulate that. So you have to be careful. There are people out there who make money, big business, off manipulating our differences. So it's okay to be proud of who you are. You know, it's okay to have that pride and to love where you come from and all that stuff. But don't take it to the point where you're insecure about other people, where you can't judge people by on an individual human basis, because that's where you will find agitators. You know, that's where you will find somebody who pushes you into somebody else and says, are you going to let them get away with that? You know? So that's all I'm saying. You got to be very, very careful, guys. You know, but that's my opinions and my thoughts on the 846 joint by Dave Chappelle. Like I said, very, very powerful. Very well received by me. Very true. Just remember, guys, there's more. You know, outrage is just the beginning. Okay, communication and understanding have to come after that, and part of that understanding is the understanding that there are people out there who are looking to exploit our differences. Okay, so and they absolutely are. So I wanted to put my voice out there. You know, just to remind people of what I feel is real. Okay, but you guys can get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about that. Give me your thoughts on it. As always, it will be very well respected, as long as they are respectful. Okay, if you come in here on some shit, you know, listen, man, I'm gonna just delete the comment and then I'm gonna block you, because I don't have time for any, you know, bullshit, you know, where you're trying to deflect from the point that I'm trying to make. I'm trying to present myself and express myself as clearly as possible. If you misrepresent what I'm saying in the comment section, I'm just going to get you out of here. You know what I mean? Because I went well out of my way to not be misunderstood, you know? So you'd have to be a fucking idiot if you do that. So anyway, so thanks for watching, guys. And, you know, like I said, like, subscribe, share. When you do subscribe, hit the notification bell, you know, do all that good stuff. I'm on Twitter. All right, guys, it's your turn to give your opinions, and I will see you there. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.